Hi guys, this is Runchuks from Bluff the Spot. Today I have a wonderful guest, Tobi, who is a WCOOP and SCOOP champion. He's a high-stakes PLO and no-limit hold'em cash game player. He's a friend of mine and all-around a great guy. We dig into a lot of topics today, such as live poker trips, our experiences from those, and we give a lot of tips from the things that we learned in our careers. We also talk about differences between online poker and live poker, how to study the game, how to improve, and we give our opinions about some of the best poker players in the world, such as trueteller, Source, Jungleman, and full Galfond. So this video is packed with useful information for you. Stay with it and enjoy. We basically want to talk about our live poker experience. Our life travels. And the thing is, we did some trips together. We did quite a few trips together, actually, and a lot of good memories, a lot of fun. For me, it's fun to revisit these things and remember some of the stories, and I'm sure the viewers will appreciate as well. And hopefully, you guys, the viewers, will also have some questions that we would be able to address today.
Yeah, I'm also pretty excited about this one, I have to say. I'm just thinking, when was the first time we met?
Ah,
Wasn't it
wow.
5 years ago in Vegas?
Must be 5 years ago in Vegas. Yeah, I think so. Well, we might have, because we're not sure. We might have met in Malta before that, right? But
Uh,
you know,
no, I don't think so. I
yeah,
think the first time we met each other, we stayed in the same house in,
yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
Vegas.
No, that's for sure. That's the first time we actually met each other and like, hey, hello, how are you? And like, yeah. So yeah, that was the first time in Vegas. Yeah, for sure. Same house. Yeah, because we had some friends in common and we ended up being, renting the same house. That was a huge house. That was a good house, actually. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
That
I
was,
love it when there is a lot of stuff around, like
yeah,
a
yeah.
basketball court and
Right. No,
a
the
big
basketball court was
pool.
another house, though. That was the year
Oh,
after. That was
oh,
an
yeah,
amazing
you're right.
house. Jesus, yeah, with the basketball court and the whole garden area was just amazing. Like the first house, I think the garden area was not so great. Um, but inside, I mean, all the billiards and the cinema, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well, good old times. But the thing is, like I think the last couple of times we had a great house, didn't even use any of it, like jacuzzi or something. I never even, stepped in it because just work all the time, just play, play, play. So you end up renting these amazing houses, and like the first day you're, wow, this is so great. But then when you're leaving, you realize, well, I used none of it. Every
Yeah,
every
that's
year the
true.
same thing. Every year the same thing. You might like, I remember like last or the whatever the last time when I was in Vegas, we had this basically a cinema at home, like a proper room, cinema, etc. Nobody watched anything. I don't think anybody even went into that room. I mean, it had a bar, like a ice machine and whatever. So yeah, we went into that room, but that's it. Nobody
So
switched
in
on the
my
TV.
in my experience, every poker player is competitive. So stuff like, a basket or basically anything you can bet on is getting used a lot.
Oh yeah,
Whereas
yeah,
things like a cinema, it's not really exciting. It's
yeah.
just
True. True. Yeah, it's right. Because I mean, we end up just gambling on stupid things like the games. Like the last time I was there, we invented the game, and we ended up gambling. Actually, like rushing from casino back home just to gamble on a stupid game that we just invented, like literally randomly. Like, oh, wouldn't it be a great game? Yeah, let's go. And then you just end up the whole night playing it. Stupid.
everything at the same time. And sometimes you also have to be careful to don't do much, especially when you play like six tables and there's one heads up below table and there's a heads up hold'em table and a six max. Sometimes it just gets overwhelming.
Oh
So
yeah.
my plan is to play the best PLO tables online and also the best Hold'em tables,
Right.
six max mostly.
We actually
And
get asked the question by viewers quite often, like, what do you think is the better field right now? Like, are PLO games usually better online nowadays than Hold'em games, or what's your opinion on that?
um, I think yes, I think PLO games are better in general, and I also feel like on some poker sites it's almost like a mafia. You know, there's four guys who know each other who block tables in Hold'em, and I feel like it's easier to get a good amount of good tables in PLO.
Right, right, yeah. Yeah, that's actually one thing that I want. Well, never mind. I don't want to. Well, anyway, yeah, I went on a sailing trip with a few friends like 2 weeks ago, and one of them is a very like well-known high stakes Hold'em player, and we were discussing this because like he was asking me like how do I get to sit at let's say the 10K PLO tables, like just open sitting that people don't try to push me off the table kind of thing. So he was like saying it's absolutely impossible, and like there's crazy guys who would just battle anyone for the seat nonstop and hold them. Like I don't know, and I really don't feel that it's the same. Well, I mean, it kind of is the same in PLO, but to a much less extent. So yeah, it is easier to get a fair chance at a seat in PLO than Hold'em, I suppose.
Yeah, I think oftentimes it's an ego thing, you know. It's, yeah. Sometimes I think both players lose if they're good players and nobody is significantly better than the other. And they could both play better tables on other sides, or not even other sides, but just other tables. So they are wasting their time just battling each other. I think that's what happens a lot.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think iPoker is a good example. That sometimes you wanna just play, and then there's five guys blocking the table, and then they open another table, and then if you open the other table, like everybody's on sit out, and then they open another table. It's just so annoying, you know.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, at
I
least
feel
on
like it
Poker
happens.
Stars, you don't have that sort of behavior. Like, this is actually something I talked on stream last week. I was discussing like how it works that, pretty much only two people are allowed to be at the table, and the third guy always has to leave. So whoever is not willing to play three-handed has to leave. But it's ridiculous when you see on some other sites people just five people sitting out, there's one seat, and then there's like three tables like this.
Yeah, but I feel like it's the same in live poker. You know, sometimes when there's some businessman from China or anywhere, and he just wants to play in Vegas and at the Bellagio. If you're not lucky, the table is just full in 5 minutes. You know,
Right, yeah, yeah.
and the floor men are just blocking the table. You know, they're knowing that they know some players, and they just reserve a seat for them, and it's almost the same in the live environment. I feel
Yeah,
like.
it's actually worse in the live environment. And we should actually, I think this is something we should talk about next, like, the live games and how they're run and everything. But before we get into this, because that's going to be quite a discussion, let's check what people are asking in the chat, because otherwise we will just never address those things. So Clanty is asking, so what does the other guy? The other guy's Tobi, by the way. And shit, I didn't put your name on. Yeah, my name is on the stream, and your name's not. Sorry. Anyway, the
Oh,
other guy's Tobi. So Tobi, what do you think about Trueteller? He is another guy who plays every format to a high level.
oh, I mean, I'm highly impressed, obviously.
Yeah.
So, when I saw him the first time as a short stack player. I think that's how he started.
A what?
So
A what player?
short stack.
Oh, short stack. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think he started with heads up short stack, and then he went from there. And I think now he's good in any game really. And
Yeah.
one time I played against him in Vegas, and it was I think it was 100, 200, so no limit 20K. And I almost felt like that was too low for him. He was bored and just sitting there. And yeah, I think he plays the highest stakes like everywhere. I
Yeah.
think he also played a lot in Macau.
Yeah, he did. And I mean, for a long time, I know that he had this game in Moscow, which is obviously, a closed game. They're not supposed to have any games in Moscow, but he had a game. Not that he had a game, he was invited to play a game with these absolutely crazy sickos that, there's people would be playing like they were paying. So the pay up would be twice a month, so there's no cash in the game. Everybody's on credit, and so some people would just, be $6 million in credit, or $10 million in 2 weeks, and just bring it in cash. Fucking crazy game with those. I know a guy who played that game, and he's a recreational player, so he's not a reg. Because basically, he told me that basically from the regs there was only trueteller. And obviously, I can't confirm any of that. So if FBI comes knocking and asking me for details, fuck off. I don't know anything about it. But anyway, so on the serious note, though, so this guy told me that they would be like obviously like 9 people playing the game, and they would have in a room next to it, they would have like 50 people bodyguards, so
Whoa.
that kind of game. But imagine the balls it takes to just like for like a little skinny guy like Trueteller to just go and yeah, I'm gonna play you guys. Wow, kind of respect it. The guy has character.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter if you're skinny or, a tall guy with 200 pounds. It's just,
It's a very
that
fair
doesn't,
point. Yeah,
doesn't matter.
I mean, probably your body is easier to hide if you're skinny, but that's about it.
You can dodge bullets easier.
Yeah. So you're like if the recreational players had to choose between a fat guy and a skinny guy, I think the skinny guy gets the vote. Just the logistics there. Oh man. Well,
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing poker professionally for like almost 10 years. And there's some guys who are always at the top at the game and doesn't even matter what game. And he's one of them. There's, of course, also Sauce. Doesn't matter what he plays, like PLO, mixed games, Hold'em, whatever. He's just one of the best. And also, I would say Jungleman is also in there.
right, right. Jungleman is also in there, but Jungleman stands out of the like if we talk about these three guys here, right? Because Trueteller and Sauce, to me, they are like they represent what it takes to be super good player because like they're so focused on the game and like let's face it, kind of slightly antisocial. And well, actually, no. Jungleman just fits right in, but except he's a bit more outspoken, but he is socially awkward guy as well. But it's just funny to see his like he's so active nowadays on Twitter, and then just he had that. It was so funny. Did you see his photo shoot with a bunch of Playboy bunnies for some whatever magazine, where
Of
he's playing
course.
poker with all these hot chicks?
Of
Just
course.
the most ridiculous thing, because like knowing how he is and how he behaves, like how the hell did he sign up for that? I mean, okay, I mean probably if the producer says to you like, hey, I'm gonna get like 40 half-naked Playboy bunnies for you, would you sign up for day of shooting, yeah, I
No, no.
mean,
Honestly, I feel like it was his idea.
it, well, yeah, it could have been.
I'm pretty sure, to be honest.
Yeah.
I met him 7 years ago or 8 years ago. I attended a seminar, a heads up seminar in Vienna.
Hmm.
And I mean, he was the main coach. And yeah, this guy was just amazing because all he ever talked about was poker. There was nothing else. And then, in the evening, we went to a fancy restaurant and had dinner there. And the first thing he did, he played cards. He took out a set of cards and just played. And I mean, back in the days, he was a big idol, and I was just kind of shocked, but also impressed because that's the only thing he was thinking about. Just
Hmm.
poker, card games, figuring out strategies. There was nothing else.
Yeah. But I mean, it's clear with most of these guys who achieved the highest levels of success, that is their life in many ways. You have to be absolutely obsessed with the game to achieve those levels.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no
and in that,
shortcut there. You can't really just, kind of half-ass it and like, yeah, I'm gonna study like, oh, I'm gonna study 2 hours a day. You know,
yeah, that's true.
yeah,
That's
it's
true.
2 hours a day is like more than 98% of people are doing, or 99% of people are doing, but still not enough to get you there.
And in that year, he won. I think it was 5 million in a heads up poker, no limit.
Yeah,
The good old days.
the good old days. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Maybe it's still possible, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. The thing is where the games are, it's shifted dramatically. That's why we see all these guys so into live poker nowadays. Just getting into good games, and yeah, you have to.
Yeah, I
Uh,
gotta. I like online poker more. I don't know how you feel about that, but I just feel like it's easier, it's more convenient, and the swings are not that hard.
right. By the way, we just had a new follower, Jarv, just followed us. So thanks for doing this. We really appreciate. Uh, you know, it's really cool. But so back to your question of how I feel about it, I completely agree. I love online poker much more. I was sort of on the fence before because I traveled like almost whatever. I mean, you still travel more than me anyway, and before you traveled, oh, and Rufus followed us as well. Thanks for that.
Nice.
And Trisector subscribed. Jesus,
Oh,
guys,
wow!
like, what is going on?
This just
Thank you all. This is
exploded.
amazing. Um, anyway, so yeah, the thing about traveling, I used to travel so much for live games. Um, but this year it changed, and luckily it kind of coincided because I was planning to start traveling a bit less anyway, and it coincided with all the policy changes in PokerStars, which really helped me in a way because now it's much easier for me to get a seat in the games. Um, ooh, is the
Uh,
police looking for you already? Did
I
we say
gotta
something? By the way,
hide.
for you guys, Tobi is in Buenos Aires right now, so you know if we hear some gunfire or something, that's not coming from my end. That's him. But
Oh, it can also be dangerous in Malta, right?
nah, nah,
Yeah.
it's safe. It's safe. You could hear fireworks, but not right now. Um, anyway, so where were we? Oh yeah, but online poker, like you said yourself, it's so much easier, so much more convenient. With the live poker, I mean, every trip you would make, right? It's gonna be like a marathon. You basically, and it's physical as well. Like to me, at least, it feels like because the first year I went for the big life trip, I went for like 2 months in Vegas, I think. I just played like a crazy person every day. I did make a lot of money in the end, so it's kind of cool. But my last session, so I finished my last session. I went home. By home, I mean the whatever house we were renting in Vegas. And then I just sat on the couch for like 4 days. I was just exhausted. I was just completely exhausted. And I took quite some time to recover physically because I realized I just completely burned out. And a lot of people do the same stupid mistake, and obviously from that experience, I learned that, any poker trip, even if it's just for a week, even if it's just for 2 weeks, you have to pace yourself. It's a marathon kind of thing. It's not about one session. It's not about, just one day. You have to be fresh. You're gonna have to be focused for the whole stay. And usually our trips are associated with a big change in the time zone as well, so all these things, it's tough. It's tough. Whereas online, well, you want to play for 45 minutes, you can play for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just not possible live.
Yeah, I think the time zone thing is huge. I just can't handle it anymore. It's just, 10 days in Macau, then you go to Vegas and, Australia for 3 weeks. It's just too much. It affects my sleep, it affects my mood sometimes, and I
Yeah,
don't want to do it anymore. I mean, when I was younger, it was just so much fun, You get to see all these amazing places.
yeah,
Even Macau. I mean, it's not a pretty city, but it's just so different. It's just a nice experience because there's so many new things to see, and it's just, yeah, I was blown away the first time. But the more you go, the less exciting it gets. And then, as I said, if you have to adapt to a new, different time zone every time, I just don't enjoy it anymore. And
yeah,
then, especially when you're running bad, and it's just the way it is that in live poker you can run bad for months or years, and it's just so frustrating. You don't have that in online poker, I feel like.
yeah. Well, you have the same sort of variance, except that, you can play so many more hands, so the variance is sort of normal in both cases, but just to play the same amount of, like, let's say to play 100,000 hands live, you need so much time. You need years and years. And, so online kind of is much easier in a sense that, you can just even out the swings real quick.
But even 100,000 hands in PLO, it's not that much.
Oh, it's nothing. It's nothing, but it's gonna take you a long, 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 long time live to do 100K hands. So yeah, there's so much variance in live games. I mean, again, when we say that, we shouldn't like, because it makes it sound like, oh, there's more variance in live games. The variance is the same, kind of, because obviously people play different styles, different stack sizes. So but intrinsically the variance is the same. Like on paper, if you would get the same players from online to sit down on a live table, there's no difference at all. But, if you want to gather like 6 people and say, hey, you got, you can play 4 tables and you have 4 hours to replicate the same amount of hands live, you probably need like half a year.
So yeah, I think in general win rates are higher in live games,
Yeah, for sure.
obviously. Um, and sometimes also the games are higher, so sometimes it's worth it.
Oh, yeah.
But a lot of players who travel and play the $1,500 tournaments, I think it's just not worth it because, you also have to pay for the hotel, you have to go to restaurants instead of cooking at home.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, flights, all that stuff. It's just more costly and it's not worth for lower buy-in tournaments, for example, I think.
Yeah, and I mean same applies to cash games as well. I mean people who travel for like the 510 games, um, I think a lot of them actually underestimate the variance. So they would have like one good trip and they think, oh, it covers my expenses very nicely and etc. etc. But you know, they might have just got like a good trip, and the
Yeah.
next year they come and they would sign up for a more expensive hotel, etc. etc. And yeah, why was Lataski here asking if people want to play? He joined a full table. Sure, they want to play. What do you think they want to do? Oh no, you joined, we're not gonna play? I mean, what the hell? I don't know. Anyway.
Oh, the eel, yellow. I know this player. He used to play heads up.
Yeah?
High heads up, no limit hold.
Okay.
Yeah. He was
Again.
a little, he was better at that time, so he always stole my tables.
Okay. Bastard. uh, so anyway, let's get back to the chat and see what's up here. Um, so we have two guys just having a conversation about them playing. This is a forum for that sort of thing, guys, so keep going. D Boga is saying that Trueteller is a genius of poker. He built preflop close to solvers before they appeared. Um, yeah, that's yeah,
I mean, I guess he is a genius, but
yeah,
I'm not about that close to GTO thing.
yeah. Me neither.
So
But
it's hard to
and
say.
also the connection is saying that or he had a solver before everyone. Maybe fair point. So Rufus is asking how long is Bluff the Spot contract? Bluff the Spot contract is, it depends on the stakes that you play, right? Because we would have a specific number of hands required for you to play in your contract, and the number of hands varies depending on the stakes that you play, right? So varies depending on where you start your learning process. And if you want more details, just it's so easy to get them. You guys have all the links down there on Twitch. So just yeah, go on our website and ask for more information from our support. They usually reply really quick. And actually, we had a situation like recently. Somebody was saying that, oh, you know, I sent a request and they never got back to us. Do check your spam folder. Sometimes it ends up there. But yeah, but it's really easy. You just, you know, send them a request. They're gonna give you all the information you need about the contracts and all the other stuff. So Trisectors is saying that wow, you are definitely overestimated the field. I don't think 99% of players study 2 hours a day. Yeah, that's what
Yeah, that's true.
I might have said it the wrong way around. I actually thought that it's like 1% of players are studying 2 hours a day. You know, that 99% of players don't do that. So yeah, I might have just said something the opposite. So Jarv is just grinding 4 tables of PLO Zoom. Jarv is the guy who was our first follower, who created this avalanche of people following us. So thanks for that. And good luck playing the 4 tables. And yeah,
Yeah,
like we
good luck.
discussed
Rush.
with Toby when we were starting this, probably when the mic was still not working. But anyway, it's kind of cool for you guys that, you know, we don't have much things visual going on here. You know, it's basically like a podcast, to be honest. We're just chilling, we're just talking. just looking at a table for whatever reason. I mean, maybe we'll see something amazing and then we're going to discuss it. But mostly, we just want you to send in your questions or participate in our discussions in any way in the chat. So we just make it more interactive in a way. Right.
But coming back to the trueteller thing,
Yeah.
to me it's always interesting. I always think about, learning new uh, poker games and if it's worth it and where I have the best hourly. And a game, for example, like short deck, six max, no, how do you call it? I think
Yeah,
it's either
the short
short
deck,
deck
yeah, you call
six.
it, or 6 plus or short deck. Yeah, same thing.
So usually you have a higher win rate there, but it's also harder to learn the game because there is not a lot of information out there. And sometimes it makes sense to be the first, and then you can just crush the games. But sometimes it's also there's not enough action. So how do you think about that? When do you think it makes sense to make the transition, and when is it not that good to do that?
Right. Well, that's a great question actually, because it's kind of a key issue here of, trying to seek out a good game, right? Because that's the primary goal. Like, it doesn't matter if you don't know how to play a game if the other players at the table don't know anything at all. If they're complete
Yeah.
loons, you don't care that you're as long as you're the best player at the table, I mean, you're in a good game, right? So as you said, like it usually pays quite nicely to be one of the first, or definitely the first, to jump into something new, right? Because I actually had that experience back in the day when all of a sudden somehow the Deuce 7 triple draw had its boom, and I played like 6 months of, eventually even the highest stakes of Deuce 7 triple draw.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, now you do. Now you do. I played, with all these monsters that eventually became monsters. I mean, we all started out on the same page. All of a sudden the game kicks off, and all of a sudden you have these. I don't remember what the stakes were, but like 1K, 2K blinds, or like 1.5, 3K blinds, something like that. So we're playing these games. It was 6 max, I believe, and we had some heads-up tables as well going. But everybody was on the same page. So basically, there was no material out there. There was nothing. I mean, the only material was like the Doyle Brunson's Super System 2, right? The only kind of cool thing so that you could get any idea about the game. Um, so for a while, it was great for me, and probably what helped, because like then the Black Friday happened, and those games obviously died because they were mostly on full tilt. So I stopped it, but it probably was for the best because I ended up, winning really a lot in those games back in the day. But I think if I would have continued, I would be probably hammered and probably would lose it all back. Retrospectively, I think so. Because, back in the day, that mind you, was whatever, how many years ago. I didn't have the same work ethic when it comes to learning the game. I didn't even know, what it means learning the game, because like we're always talking about, oh, learn the new game, A lot of people don't even realize what it takes, it's so I was one of those people that was just like, yeah, I mean, sure, I learned the game. I mean, like, check my hands or discuss a hand history with one or the other guys, because then later I still kept in touch with some of the guys who became some of the best players in Deuce 7 Triple Draw. And I realized, like, wow, they had all these charts. They were, doing all sorts of math, and they were just like studying so deeply that to a level that I didn't even realize exists, you know. So
Yeah.
Black Friday was the best thing that happened to me. Nah, it wasn't. But, honestly, I really believe that, if I would have kept playing those games, I would have been crushed without realizing that I suck. Because we start out all the same level, but then some of the guys just took it to a different level very quickly with their study ethics and their study methods. Because it's one thing to say, oh, I study like 2 hours a day every day, but it means shit if you study the wrong thing, right? And
Yeah,
do you know
yeah,
what's the right thing? Do you know what's the most efficient way to study? Do you have the feedback loop? Do you have like, a potential of somebody like discovering what the big issues are, right? Most people don't. So, even so, like some people who do study a lot, like it mostly is just truly a waste of time if you consider how efficient it is and how much it actually gives them. All
yeah.
right.
I agree. I always like to have a plan when I learn something new. So, for example, I think a lot of players just look at hand histories and then, they spend half an hour with a hand history when it's check raise, check raise, check raise, three bet pot in a, uh, just on the river, just in spots that are so rare and not really important.
Right,
That,
right, yeah.
if they just spend more time thinking about, I don't know, flop play on specific boards or something, that would be better. And also, I remember back in the days, like making money in heads up hold'em was so easy. And then there came the time where there were a lot of battles and they limited the amount of tables. And then you had to play against good racks 90% of the times. And then it was just not worth it anymore. So that's why I transitioned to six max first. And then the transition from six max to no limit hold'em tournaments is not that hard. And then eventually, I also started PLO, and it took more time than I expected because it's just much more complex, I would say, than Hold'em. But it's also more fun, I think.
Mm. Yeah, I agree that it's more fun. And actually, that kind of leads us back to the same question that I actually didn't really answer when you asked about, whether it's worth studying other games. Because, like, what I started talking about is that you need to seek out where the good games are, right? And so for some of those games, because like you mentioned the short deck, right? Sometimes there's just no action.
Yeah,
And plus, nowadays you're already not one of the first, and the material is really hard to come by. And the guys that are, on their way to becoming the best, they already have the best material, and there's no way you get your hands on it. But PLO is unique in this sense because we're obviously not in the beginning of this. There's a lot of people who already are amazingly good players. But at the same time, we still have this kind of vacuum of there's not enough good material out there. It's not easy to study the game, right? And because it's obviously also way more complex than some other games. So yeah, and then if you compare it, like, is it worth trying to study like the stud high low right now? Probably not, right? And like if you think about it, like the 10 game, and we actually talked about it, like I think every year in Vegas we talked
yeah,
about it, like, oh, wouldn't it be great to study the 10 game and play the 10, and I did play the 10 game for a while, right? But the amount of time you need, because like when you realize, oh Jesus, there's 10 games I need to study now, like, oh my God, one game is already like takes so much time, so now it's 10. So it's sort of, it comes to a point, like, unless you're willing to play the highest stakes running in those games, it's probably not worth, money-wise, it's not worth it at all
yeah, I
to get
agree.
into it, because you're just losing so much potential money that you could be making right now in Pot Limit Omaha, in No Limit Hold'em, because like the amount of time you have to just take away from your playing time and put it into your study time is just insane. Yeah. And another thing about like when we're talking about lack of material in, let's say, PLO, as you know, I always get surprised with, like, it's one of those games where it's so easy to fool yourself that oh my God, I'm learning so much, right? Because there's just a lot of things that people on different levels in the game don't understand. So, once they encounter some new concept of like, oh, so that's the type of hand you 4-bet out of position now. Interesting. And it feels like, wow, I'm learning so much. But in reality, you're just scratching the surface. And so often it's just you're scratching the surface. You feel like learning a lot, but with a lot of material that is available out there, it's just the kind of easy kind of, breadcrumbs of, yeah, go study this, it's gonna change your life. And usually it doesn't. So,
Yeah, yeah, it's always a process.
yeah.
And I also feel like because it's so complex, it's also good in a way because the barrier of entry is higher. And it's always, there's, for example, sit and goes. It's easy to learn to a certain level, but then also you can't earn that much money because it's easy for everybody. Or let's say, especially spin and goes. There's no ICM, it's only 20 big blinds. There's just not a lot of depth to it. And so it's easier to learn, but also there's not a lot of money to be earned, I think, because of that.
Yeah, exactly. Because the field, like, if it's easier for you to learn, it's easier for everybody else as well, right? So yeah, the field ends up just being really tough. I guess this table that we're looking at in the background is just gonna break. Unless Ladeski is gonna end up playing with I'm so good. I'm so good, I'm sure is willing to play. He
Do
likes
you want
heads
to
up.
share what yellow means?
Um, okay, now he's asking. Okay, so they're not playing three-handed, so the game's gonna break. Yellow, I don't know. It depends on the shade of yellow. I have different shades of yellow. The thing
Okay.
is, I mean, again, and we actually talked about it in the very beginning, but it was off mic, so I might as well just, mostly now I just mark the regs, all of them green. Before I would mark different shades of things. Like yellow used to be like a tight reg. Um, so mostly it's just not true anymore. It's just probably because Mankis, well, yeah, well, maybe he is tight. I don't remember. Because like I try to, all the colors, I change them to green nowadays. And, if it stays yellow for a reason, then maybe he is tight, but I don't remember right now, to be honest. So, okay, this game is not gonna break because my nuts is back. My nuts
Great name,
is
by the way.
back. Yeah, pretty cool. And by the way, on Twitter the other day, I saw something funny. Like somebody was asking, like some chick was asking, like, oh, but why is it called nuts in poker? Why is it not called tits? And some guy answered, because they can't be fake. So then the nuts can't be fake. I found it funny. Well,
Important question.
anyway. Yeah, right. All right. So anyway, let's get back to the chat because uh, shall we call him Chris Martin or CR Martin 11? Is saying, hey guys, fucking assholes! I asked the question 30 minutes ago, so sorry, man. That was exactly the question we stopped at. So let's get back to the chat. So he's asking. So Jungleman once said that if Tom Dwan won the main event, he'd still be in debt. Have you heard any rumors about Dwan or high stakes Macau action in general, etc.? That's a cool question. I mean, the theme of today is live poker, so let's get into it. Do you know anything about it? I've never went to Macau for those games myself, because I mean, PLO action, it used to be good. I kind of missed the train, and now it's just not amazing from what I hear. Toby,
So
do you know anything about it?
So I went to Macau several times, but I played tournaments and high roller tournaments like 3 or 4 years ago were really good there, like really soft. I don't think it's the case anymore, and also there aren't a lot of tournaments anymore, I think. Um, so I can't say much about Tom Dwan. I mean, all I know is I think he's in some way affiliated with what's his name again? Paul
Poor.
Poor.
Yeah.
There's this this coaching site with a lot of. I think the videos are funny sometimes,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think they have some kind of a deal. I would guess. I really don't know.
Oh, they definitely have some kind of a deal. He's his well, let's keep it child friendly here, but I mean Tom Dwan has to work for Paul Pua. That's for sure. I remember we were laughing. I remember you were the one who was showing me videos of Pua, like this coaching site, whatever bullshit. We were in Melbourne for the Aussie Millions a few years ago, and you were just like showing him. We would just sit there and laugh. Because like coaching
Yeah,
videos, because he when Paul Pua would be like, oh, and the recreational player does this and that, and you're supposed to do this and that. Like, okay. Oh, wait, where's my pen and paper?
yeah. I mean, I don't want to be mean.
Yeah.
It was just funny to me because it
No,
was.
but it was funny to me. I think it was
It's,
funny to
it was
anyone. But the thing is, it's like we should, to be honest, laugh about any poker video and poker video advice, because everything can be misunderstood. And to some people, like anything you say would be like, yeah, that's bullshit. I know it anyway. And this is like, so in reality, like whatever Paul Pua was saying, to some people, maybe that's news. So maybe there's an audience for his stuff.
yeah,
It's just for us as an audience that kind of, crosses the line, goes into the comedy section. But I'm sure there's like there was somebody who would be like, wow, interesting. Yeah.
yeah. Maybe I should give out the information. Do you think I should do it?
The information about what?
Like what he said. I mean, it's great content.
Well, I mean, do we have
Yeah,
him
I'm
as an
gonna say
affiliate?
that.
Let's become affiliates for Paul Pua and bring action or traffic to his course. But
So Ace Queen is an overrated hand.
oh yeah, I remember he said that. That was the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's good advice. Hey, that's good advice.
So if there's something you can take away from this podcast, I think that might be it.
Yeah.
Because it can be dominated by Ace King and also kings and aces.
That's exactly right. I mean,
And
here you
pocket
have it,
queen.
and you are basically a representation of a true professional. Even when you hear bullshit advice like this 5 years ago, you fucking remember it for the rest of your life. It's incredible, and I mean, it's good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to make too much fun.
Yeah,
Um,
I won't. I don't
also,
care.
sometimes,
I mean, in the end of the day, I'm sure Paul Pua and Tom Dwan are doing just fine.
yeah, I mean,
So they
I'm
can be the
jealous
last
in a way.
ones laughing.
A lot of people ask me about live players, the ones like, I don't know, Phil Hellmuth or Negriano.
Yeah,
And I think a lot of people, talk bad stuff about them, but actually they make a lot of money in live games and they don't need to study a lot. They don't need to beat the highest online games. It's just not worth it for them. And I mean, I would do the same. Uh, I still think most of them are pretty smart and make a lot of money. So
yeah,
who are we to judge if somebody misplays a hand or
yeah,
something?
yeah. And that's exactly right. I completely agree with what you're saying, because that comes back to like what I said earlier about it doesn't matter if you don't know how to play a game. as long as you're still the best player in the table, you know? Because let's face it, me and you, we're never getting a seat in some of the games that those guys are getting a seat. Never.
Yeah.
And the thing is, where the money is, it's in those seats. When you can actually get into this, 2,000, 4,000 high stakes game with like five whales who all want to play against you because you're the superstar, right? So
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
so much respect for these guys. Like, we're gonna rail some 5K action right now. Nice. Pretty tough lineup in terms of regs. Pretty good, but it's definitely worth it for them. John the Fast is a good recreational player.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, but I,
Oh,
I
but
like that you brought this up about Helmuth and Negrano and you know because yeah, I mean judging people by because like poker in general, like what does it mean? Oh, he's the best player in the world. He's the top three. He's the top five. Like, what's the metric here? It's just like, you mean like playing against the solver, playing against what? I mean, in the end of the day, the goal is to make money. So a guy who always gets the best seat in the best game and just crushes the game, even if he would lose to absolutely everybody online. So is he really like what's the metric here? Like, oh, he sucks. Really? He makes millions and you don't. So who sucks, right?
yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Right? Because again, of course, we can't measure success of people by purely money because there's so much variance as well, right? So it's a bit unfair to just say, oh, he's the best because he won the most. Because yeah, there's a lot of variance, but still,
Yeah. I mean, also sometimes they make a lot of money with sponsorship deals or commercials or whatever, and there's also a form of making money. And to be honest, I don't think maybe it's even better in a way because it's less variance and also funnier and in a way, just something different.
yeah. And plus, if you think about it, like a brand that Negrano or Helmuth built for themselves over the years, nobody can ever take it away from them. Like they stop
Yeah,
playing poker, they would still, they probably go do TED speeches or whatever, speak in universities and just become whatever public speakers and get affiliated with some site or whatever. So yeah, it's true. Anyway,
yeah, that's
shall we try to catch up with the chat? I see it
sure,
keeps
sure.
growing and we are so slow with it. So what's Toby Star's screen name? What was it again? It was Toby something.
One, two, three, four, then a five and six.
Okay, Toby 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You don't play that much on stars though. You're one of those guys who actually seeks out the best game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I don't see you on stars. Like on PLO, actually never see you.
Oh, very rarely.
Yeah. On other
Yeah,
sites, I see you all
I
the
think
time. So
the selection is the key to
yeah,
winning.
yeah.
And
For me though,
yeah,
PokerStars was
but
lately one of the main sites though, because the action was just super good lately.
yeah, so I play like sometimes, but usually more just a regular table and not really Zoom.
Yeah, but me, I don't play Zoom as well. Like for the last, I think four months or so, I didn't play Zoom at all.
Yeah, sometimes I always have problems with my HUD with Zoom tables.
Mm,
It's just so annoying, there's an update missing or I got a new laptop and then
right.
I need Stars Helper or whatever. It's just, yeah, it's annoying sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you, but I know how advanced you are in technical things, so I really don't want to comment about it because I might lose you as a as a guest.
and as a friend.
I can't recall how many times that we like have a phone conversation or something, and it was like it cuts off, and like 5 minutes later you call like, oh yeah, it wasn't charged or whatever. And, simple things like this. And I know it. So that connection is playing if asking, do you play five cards PLO, Toby? I think there's more and more action in this game, says he. Do you play any
Yes,
five card?
sometimes, but rarely. I have to say, I'm not. Yeah, I haven't done much in terms of studying. But sometimes when I have somebody marked as a huge fish in four card PLO,
Yeah,
I just play the table and yeah, adapt. But only when the table is really, really good because I always want to make sure that it's plus EV.
right.
Because sometimes in four card PLO you have crazy guys with, I don't know, 80% VPIP and 60% three bet or whatever. And then I guess it's still worth it to play against them in five card. But
Absolutely.
it's the same issue. There's not a lot of content out there. I think I watched the Chain Anders videos,
Hmm.
but other than that,
Does he
I
have
don't.
any content on five card pillow? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he does.
All right,
It's not.
cool.
I think it's only, I don't know, 8 videos or so.
Right. But then again, we talked about videos before. It's like it's enough to kind of scratch the surface. It's enough to get you to a level where you think you are learning something. Um, and it should be still enough to like beat the monster fish, right? But if you actually want to dig in, it's not enough, and there's not enough material out there available. It's not easy, and I'm not
So
sure it's worth it. Like, sure, the games are picking up, but still, majority of the action is in four card PLO, right? And
yeah,
actually, I
I
think
agree.
now I remember we talked about it some time ago. Well, actually, we even touched upon it today. Like, where's the line? Like, when does it become worth focusing on or spreading yourself thinner? Like, because where's the goal? Like, would you wanna become one of the best in a narrow field? Let's say that let's talk about PLO here, right? Do you rather prefer to be one of the best in PLO, or would you rather be decent in like 6, 7 games?
Yeah, I agree.
Because like that,
Um,
it's a super difficult actually decision. Because to become one of the best in PLO, the amount of time it takes is insane. To become decent in like 7 games is about the same amount of time, to be honest. And then what is going to be better? Like, what's the bigger payoff?
yeah, usually it's not easy because there are so many factors. For example, in five card PLO, I mean, I'm not saying that it's the same game, but I think the transition is easier if you're already good at four card PLO.
Yeah, yeah, right.
So yeah, so I rarely play it sometimes, but only when there's a big fish, and then it's hard to analyze because there's no marker solution. So I try to do my best with what's the name of the website again? Pro Poker Tools.
Oh yeah, yeah. And the
Um,
Odds Oracle, their tool. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
but
Uh,
I try my best, but it's not a long-term goal to learn and study the game.
yeah. All right, let's keep digging at the chat. It just keeps growing, and I feel like we're so slow. So Rufus is asking, is studying with solvers a must these days, or do you think focus on exploitative plays is better way? So Toby, where you want to address it? Is
So yeah,
studying with solvers a must?
I think it is a must, but I think it also goes hand in hand because if you know a lot about the GTO strategy, then it's also easier for you to adapt and exploit other people. If you don't know the baseline, then it's hard to say, okay, this guy is too aggressive in that spot or too tight or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just if you know what's good, then it's easier to go the other way and exploit the other player.
Yeah, exactly, because you need to have the baseline, as you said. Because if you don't know what to measure things against, then how are you deviating? You're just guessing, right? All right. So Evan is continuing on the idea, is saying like if you're playing online, then I suppose he means yes. But if you're playing live, he doesn't think solvers mean shit or shite, as he probably wanted to say. I don't necessarily agree. I mean, sure, the value, because like you have to understand that like when you're playing live and all you studied was, let's say, 100 big blind PLO, right? And you play live, you quickly realize, okay, there's going to be guys sitting with the short stack. It's first of all, it's a nine-handed table or an eight-handed table, depends when you where you play. There's going to be guys sitting super deep. There's going to be guys sitting super short, and they all deviate from the baseline, right? But we come back to the same idea of if you know the baseline, it's much easier for you to make good educated guesses of on how to um, kind of deviate yourself, you know. So for that alone, solvers are really useful for playing live. I mean, hell, I'm playing or used to play. I'm still playing a bunch live and super useful.
So I think in general, live reads are overrated.
Oh yeah, for
I'm,
sure.
I'm not saying it's useless. It can be very useless, but I guess even more so in tournaments because sometimes the stakes are higher. There's more pressure, whereas in cash games, it's always the same. I mean,
Yeah,
of course, sometimes there's a 400 big blind pot, but it's still not the same. Because in a tournament after 4 days when there's a big final table and a large amount of money, it's still more pressure.
yeah.
But anyways, I think if you study a lot online and can beat the mid stakes games there, then you can easily transition to crush the live games.
Right. For sure. Yeah, for sure. But that being said, like the last couple of years, I've seen many times that, for example, our PLO tables, like the 10K tables in Vegas, in Bellagio, the lineup that we start the game with is pretty much the same lineup that is playing Poker Stars, the same stakes. Um, so everybody is working with the solvers, of course. So it's the same game. The game is the same. The people are the same. The times of these beautiful times when you have one group of people playing only live and another group of people playing only online, that's gone. Now just you seek out the good game. So some of the best crushers online, they still go and play live as well. So and
Yeah.
then we come to a point of, obviously, like Phil Hellmuth is not gonna sit down and play in our game because he would just look at us and think like, what a bunch of idiots! Like, what are they doing here? Like, who's winning in that game? He's just gonna go into Bobby's room or even like if we are in Bobby's room, he's just gonna go to a table next to us and just sit into this just super juicy game, which we can just dream about getting into because we're not. Because in the beginning we wanted to talk about, the politics of how do you get a seat in the live games, and I still want to talk about it, but I think we should address the chat again because this is
True.
this is this
True.
is getting a bit difficult. So the connection is saying, for example, Luno, so the Alex Luno paid people to develop his own tools for Deuce 7 at this period. Wow, I talked about Deuce 7 such a long time ago, but so are we really that slow? But that's true, yeah, of course. I mean, he's not alone. I mean, all of the, the best players in the new games, of course they develop their own tools, of course, and of course they pay people to do it because like not like you're just gonna develop your own solver. And it's not only about solvers, all sorts of study tools, because again, like even if there is a video out there of somebody talking about like a little book, you can only learn so much from it. You need the proper tools and you need the proper advice. I mean, hell, You know, Alex Leno went to do 7 triple draw, and then he had like 5. Some of them were close friends of mine. They just kind of started working with him on their game, so he coached them up, and all of a sudden there's like 5 crashers in the game. As that's how it goes. You know, that you seek out somebody who has achieved huge success, and then you try to, you know, learn from them. Um, anyway, what
Yeah,
else?
I think as you mentioned earlier, I think the feedback loop is important. So
Yeah,
what I like to do is even when I work with a solver, and I guess that's why the question is so popular because working with a solver is not always fun. It can be tedious and boring. And what I like to do is I like to gamify it. For example, there's this site random.org, and then if I want to learn preflop strategies, I just open the solver and click on randomize, and then I've, I ask myself if I want to open the hand from the cutoff or the button, or if I want to three bet it, whatever I want to study at the moment.
right.
So yeah, I think there's no way around. You have to work with solvers, and if you don't like it, you have to find a way for yourself to make it more fun, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, because it's a very good point that you bring up with this gamification, and you know, because it's the same idea of like, you know, if you're trying to study a concept from just reading about it, or let's say if you're trying just to watch a video and learn something from it, it's not really how we learn things, is it? You know, you can reread the same book like 20 times. You don't necessarily achieve the same level of, you know, understanding of the subject and recollection of the subject, like long-term memory of the subject, if you were to take a test, for example. Yeah? That's how school works, for example. And it's not the best system and not the best example, but, you know, we need to test ourselves on the knowledge that we gain. And with the solver, it's just easy to waste like 4 hours browsing the solutions, thinking like, oh, I'm learning so much, where you're learning
Yeah.
nothing because, you know, it just doesn't stay in your memory. You like, yeah, at that moment it seems like, oh, amazing, this is interesting, but yeah, just taking notes is not gonna cut it, you know? Yeah. All right, so uh, CR Martin is saying that Ben was also well, did the same thing with PLO. I mean, about the, you know, developing the solver. Yeah, and not only him. I mean, many people they had like people had solvers for PLO before Monker existed. So you know they still have them, and they're private and they're not for sale. Doesn't mean
The
they're somehow
so-called dream,
better. Oh,
the so-called dream machine.
the Dream Machine. Yeah.
There were always rumors of Ike having the dream machine, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I think it was Ike.
I think it was Ike as well. Yeah, the Dream Machine Ike. All right, so ATPBR90 is asking if it's best to play No Limit or Omaha these days. Yeah, we addressed it earlier, so let's recap. I think we both agree that Omaha is the way, right?
Yes, I think so, but it also depends if you want to play mid stakes or higher or lower,
Oh, that's a
because I
good
feel
point.
like
Yeah,
it's. I think Hold'em is easier to learn, and yeah, PLO just has more depth to it. If you only want to beat, no limit 5, then you should go for no limit, I guess.
yeah,
But I think because this is such a high level channel, I don't think that's what he wants to do. And
yeah.
yeah, it always depends. So Hold'em is easier to learn, but I think you could earn more with PLO.
Right.
That would be my guess.
Well, I agree with that, and I think especially the higher you go, um, the better the games of PLO are compared to Hold. Or at least maybe that's because I'm biased, just because I play these games. But yeah. Anyway, so let's keep plowing on. So, wow, roar is that I don't know. Possibly that's how I pronounce it. I should pronounce it. So he's asking us if we think that Blue Fire videos of Phil Galfond PLO are still any good.
Whoa.
What do you think? It's
Ooh,
been
fire.
like 10 years now, or like 8 years or something.
No, I don't think so.
Blue Fire, that's before Run It Once.
Yeah, a long, long time ago, right?
Yeah. There's no way
Uh,
they're any good. I mean, the thing is with Phil Galfond, I feel like his videos had so much value of looking at him think through the hand. That
yeah,
alone has a lot of value. Obviously, if you look for like technical advice of how to play your hand, how to play different spots, those videos are just complete rubbish right now because they're so outdated. People don't play like this anymore at all. And in PLO, we went through different stages of, at some point, defending like 100% of your big blind was all the craze. And then like, oh, never fold the three bets was all the craze. All the bullshit, before the solvers existed in PLO, or at least existed to the masses. People were doing these stupid things that nowadays seem completely ridiculous, but seemed like a great idea at the time.
yeah. The game has evolved so much
Oh
within
yeah,
the last 3 years or so, or 2 years.
yeah.
And also, Run It Once membership isn't that expensive, I think. Isn't it around? I think there are two tiers. There's one for 50 and one for $100.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
and
have the
so
membership.
I think, yeah, I think if you're motivated and you take it seriously, then you should just buy the Run It Once membership. Membership.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, it's also for government, but it's just newer content.
yeah. Well, the thing about Galfond though, and well, I don't want to get into this, but still, I mean, to me, yeah, even nowadays, when I don't think he's still one of the best online. And mind you, I think he's amazing when he's playing live games, and he gets into these super juicy games, like some of the games he gets in Aria or the Bobby's room. I can only dream about games like this, and I'm not getting in. Um, well, anyway, yeah, but the value of watching his videos for me always was of just I love how the guy explains the thinking process. It's so
Yeah,
valuable. Yeah. Because that's like when you get that from the videos, that is great. Because like if you are actually trying to learn strategy from the videos, well, good luck. I mean, you have to watch through so many hours of videos to actually get a good game plan. But the fact that you can kind of tap into a great player's mind and see how they think through the process, it kind of opens up the eyes for many people. Because I remember back in the day, like I did watch Galfond's videos on, yeah, it was even Blue Fire, and I thought it's like, oh, it's amazing, and it changed the way I view the game, and it was like the first stepping stone towards, improving even further, because, it kind of opens your eyes to like, hey, there's so much that I don't know about the game, so much that I don't understand, so then you start looking for opportunities to find that, little extra edge on top of, you know, everything that you learn.
yeah. It's also important to say what you just mentioned that it's the process is often more important than just memorizing stats or hands.
Mm.
So that's the mistake I made when I started with solvers. I just saw strategy and tried to memorize as much as I could. Whereas I think it's better to just find out what the concepts are. So why the solver is doing that, what you
Yeah,
can learn.
yeah, exactly. I completely agree. And even like all of our coaching session with students, even for pre-flop stuff, we mostly do concept work, not memorization work, because like especially in PLO, memorizing the ranges, are you mental? In Hold'em, sure, go ahead. It's a simple chart. Let's go. But in PLO, really? Um,
Yeah, but even in Hold'em, there are a lot of mixed strategy, and you can't just remember, okay, I want to check raise this 40% of the time, and you know, with the backdoor blocker, I want to check raise this 78% of the times or whatever. It's just
yeah,
too much information, and you just have to learn the concepts behind that.
exactly, exactly. And plus, when you know the concept, it's much easier for you to make adjustments when you're actually trying to exploit or play against a player who's playing a very exploitative strategy. Because then you're working with the concept, you kind of know the baseline, you can deviate from it. If you're just working with like a memorized range, then you have to sort of on the spot try to figure out like, okay, why was I supposed to play like this, and how am I supposed to deviate? It's just too long of a process, too inefficient. So let's skim through. So we got some people yeah, talking about the Pol Pot thing. Um, who's the guest? Lord Peeth is asking. The guest is Tobi. Stays pretty incognito. The pirate is the guest.
Arr!
Yeah, Tobi the pirate. But yeah, so Tobi, a few words about Tobi. Plays online, plays live, plays tournaments, plays cash games, plays high, plays mid, plays everything, crushes. Here you go. That's Tobi for you in a nutshell. uh, what would you say was your biggest achievement in poker?
My biggest achievement, um, I think the longevity for one, and a WCOOP title. That was just amazing.
Wow. Yeah, the WCOOP title is a thing. Not many people can claim it. Which event
And
was it
also,
actually? I
I mean,
forgot. Like,
I
what was the?
was, I was so lucky in that year because I won a scoop title and the WCOOP title
You
in one
fucking
year. That was
bastard!
just amazing.
This is incredible. Incredible. Yeah, Scoop
And
and Coop.
yeah, I didn't even play that many tournaments
All right.
because if you play cash games and tournaments, usually cash games are better in terms of hourly. So I didn't even play that many tournaments, and I won a scoop and a W Coop title.
Right.
That was amazing.
Right. What I should have done actually, instead of your pirate picture, I should have just put the picture of your two trophies. It's like here we have it. We have a, because I mean we suck at this, right? I think, and the self-promotion thing, because it's not our thing. We're not very interested in it, but you know, you are an
Yeah,
amazing player.
I mean
So
we're just online nerds.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But the thing is, if you think about it, like you won the scoop, you won the W Coop, you won. Did you win one of the high roller events live? Or you finished like super high?
Uh, no,
You
I
didn't win.
won a PLO tournament.
Oh,
It
unbelievable.
wasn't that much. I think it was like 40K or something,
Yeah,
50K. But I almost won back to back. It was so funny because I had been playing No Limit Hold'em live tournaments for years and didn't win a single one. And then I think it was my third PLO tournament. And then the next tournament was a mixed tournament. It was PLO and Hold'em,
right.
and finished in second place. So I almost won back to back. It was pretty funny.
That's amazing.
Just a great game
The great
of
game of
PLO.
PLO. I'll take some credit for this because I remember when we were in Barcelona, right? When you said, "Oh, I want to study PLO," and I said, "I'll teach you."
Yeah,
So
yeah. I think it was even
show me
earlier.
the money.
I bombarded you with questions. I remember that.
Yeah.
And back
No.
in the days, there were no solvers, so
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
it was hard. I
Right.
couldn't just say, okay, you open this from there. I just had to figure it out. And then I remember asking you, and you were like, no, no, and no. What the heck?
Yeah. Sounds like something I would say. Oh
No,
man.
but honest feedback is important, I think.
Yeah. Of course. I mean, otherwise, why would you ask for advice from somebody, if they're just gonna do a half-ass job of, like, yeah, sure, whatever you do is good. Like, a mixed strategy, go ahead, I mean, yeah, all right, thank you. It's very, very good. Um, all right, let's get back to real world. What site would you guys say is best for no limit cash gamers and no limit 200? What do you think? I have no idea. Toby, what do you think?
Mm, I don't play 200. I would guess it's Winamax.
Really? Is there a lot
Yeah.
of action there?
Um, yeah, decent action for a small site. I mean, obviously
All
it's
right.
not poker stars, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, cool. But I think we
I
even
mean,
offer affiliate deals on Winamax. So for
but,
once, I can say, hey guys, you know what? You can actually
oh,
follow the
it's
link
definitely
and
not Winamax then.
what?
Oh, it's definitely not Winamax then. No,
Oh
I'm
no,
just
why?
kidding.
No. Oh, definitely not Winamax. Yeah, Winamax sucks. But still, we have affiliate deals, and you can get yourself. I don't even know. Maybe we don't have affiliate deals. What am I doing? I mean, it's a poker site. We probably do have a deal, so go check it out. Um, anyway,
Yeah, but once again, I don't play No Limit 200,
yeah.
so that would be my guess.
Yeah, I
Take
have
it.
absolutely no guess because I don't play No Limit at all. So, I mean, occasionally live, just like in a mix game type of thing. The last time I played, we played like this, it was a 100 200, so the 20k game, we played half and half PLO and Hold'em, and I felt like, oh, I have no idea what I'm doing. I was literally like lost every time, like pre-flop, and I think because
Yeah, I
I was
remember
kind of
you asked.
keeping track of it for myself. I think I won like 60k in the Hold'em rounds and was actually losing in the PLO. So I was like, it's a cool game, this Hold'em. I kind of like it, you know.
You are the No Limit Hold'em prodigy.
Yeah, yeah. But again, it comes back to the same thing we talked about many times. It doesn't matter if you don't know the game, as long as you're still one of the best. I mean, in this case, it obviously I was not even close to being one of the best in Hold'em. Because all the fish were basically in PLO, and then they kind of knew what to do and hold them. But I got lucky, suppose. Period. Let's move on. Uh, so Arkneka is saying hi to me, you, and the chat. It's very kind of you. Um, Hi. I suppose he probably said hi like 2 hours ago, and we are just so slow. So anyway,
Hi.
and by the way, I mean we're running like I enjoyed so much so that I wasn't even checking the clock. We're 1.5 hours in, and we should finish before 8. So like in half an hour we must finish because Arthur is streaming after us. Today is basically a full day of streams on Below the Spot channel here, because first we had MMA Sherdog just before us, now it's us, and then it's going to be Arthur, so becoming a true TV channel here, huh? So, alright. Evan is asking, isn't it pretty easy to figure out the baseline by now, though? Like most good players um, know basic GTO strategy, I would figure. By no, I
Uh,
suppose he
uh,
thinks no. So what do you think? Isn't it pretty easy to figure out the baseline?
Sorry. No, no, it's definitely not. I mean, sure, it's easy to find out what you want to open on the cutoff or whatever, but there is always more to check raise in a three bet pot on a turn with SPR three or against a short stack. I mean, there's so much, and even with note locking, if you want to learn how to. Sorry, that was not a question, but yeah, I think it's just so complex, and nobody plays GTO. That's what we also said the last time. I think most players underestimate how difficult it is.
Yeah.
because there's just so many spots. There's so much to think about it. Yeah, nobody's even close, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Nobody's close to GTO. And that's one of those things, when it's kind of easy to get deceived of thinking like, oh, I got it. Like, I got the baseline now. If you don't have the feedback loop, if you don't have somebody actually kind of assess it and tell you the truth, right? You can't handle the truth. Anyway. I'm having fun. So Rufus is saying, with solvers, wish solvers never would have came out. Lots of people playing the exact same way. Isn't that extremely shady to use these things before everyone else? Cheating, in his opinion. I don't agree. I think solvers are great. I'm so happy they came out. Because let's face it, solvers are out there for everyone. Now, what are we railing here? It's a 5K game, right? So I would say, in these games, so basically I would play exactly the same player pool every single time. So there's gonna be like 15, 20 people playing every day in these stakes, right? Everybody has the solver, but somehow there's just these 15, 20 people at the top, and their strategies are so different. Like if we would have pulled up, which I'm not gonna do, but if we pull up the HUDs now, basically the stats of each and every one of them are different. Even the, bet sizes pre-flop are different, their strategies post-flop completely different. So people are not playing the same. I don't think so. And also, the fact that solvers are out there, sure, it gives opportunity to everyone. Just like, yeah, let's go, let's study, do it. It still takes so much time, so much dedication. And again, with the solvers, yeah, it's a tool, but you know, you must know what exactly you're trying to study. Like, what are you trying to work on? What are you trying to improve? Because it's too easy to kind of waste a lot of time browsing the solutions, trying to, you think you're learning something, you're probably not. Hopefully you are, but not necessarily the case. And Yoshi's saying about the same thing, that's evolution, baby. And it is.
Yeah, that's.
It is.
I mean, it's all about learning more efficiently than the others. And of course, if you have a new program and you created the program, then it's a form of efficiency, and I think there's nothing shady about it.
Exactly, exactly. Because it's like, because the thing is, it's because people who came up with these um, tools for themselves, like solvers, right, for some specific games, they pinpointed the problem of the like, okay, so I'm not improving at the high enough rate that I would like to in this specific field. What's the best way to do it, right? Because it boils down to what's the best way to do things, right? Because, hey, poker videos are out there for everyone to watch, you know. Is it a great way to improve? Solvers are there available for everyone. I mean, if you can afford them, mostly you can because they're pretty cheap. It's out there for everyone, but is it the best way? It can be if you know how to work with them, but it's not the only way. It's not limited to just working with solvers. It's not limited to just, reviewing your hands. There's so much more to the learning process. And the thing we were, talking about again and again is the feedback loop. You need somebody or something to tell you that you're deviating from what is best, and just sort of pinpoint your weaknesses and work on them. So, and the
Yeah,
connection
I
is
also
sort of
think,
saying the same thing, like, no, they do their own research, they put the work in, and this is far from cheating. Yeah.
yeah, and also there's a risk involved. Nowadays everybody can just buy Monker solver for a small amount of money, but when you don't have a solver, then you have to find software developers, and then at the beginning you don't even know if it's gonna work.
Hmm.
Maybe you just splash 5K for the program, and then in the end it doesn't even work, and then you're just sitting there, you wasted your money and your time.
Right.
There's also the risk.
Well, exactly. I mean, you have to take that risk to jump into unknown. Imagine like the first guy who came up with the solver who said game theory optimal is the only way to play, so let's fucking solve it. It's wow, wow. Nowadays everybody's talking about solvers, but what you mentioned like briefly is that it's well, and I am gonna rephrase it sort of, but the thing is that it's great that it's available for everyone because now the field is level. It's same as with the HUD, because it sucks for some sites which make HUD, like they ban the HUD, right? So they ban the HUD, so they assume nobody has the HUD. Somebody still has the HUD because they would hire somebody to make their own illegal version of the HUD. So what happens now? Like these people who had the money and the resources and the need to create their private solution, so they have the HUD and nobody else has the HUD. So all of a sudden, the field is very unlevel. It's actually unfair. I would
Yeah.
rather prefer that everybody's on the same page in terms of everybody has the same opportunity, you know.
I also remember the first time I saw a solver, I wasn't even sure if that's legit, if it's really worth to dig into.
Right, yeah.
Because back then nobody used solvers, and then you just don't know.
Mm.
And if you waste a lot of time learning that's not great, then yeah, it actually is bad for you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, all the opportunity cost of, you could have used that time better doing something else, working on something else, and also bad advice is worse than no advice, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right, so Rufus, yeah, we answered that. So an even contest is saying solvers have been around for 15 years since online became profitable thing to do. I mean, that's questionable, 15 years. You could call Equilab and PokerStove solvers. Well, you can't. And yeah, Ruby Expert is saying that's not really a solver, but still the point is there that, the tools existed, different tools from the very beginning. And then let's think about like when people just were starting out, all of a sudden the breakthrough of Doyle Brunson's super system, it's like, wow, you can actually think about the game this way. And like, yeah, we evolved from one book to a lot of tools, and to me it's a good thing. I like it.
Yeah.
All right.
When did Poker Snowy come out? Do you know that?
Poker Snowy, I actually know the guys who developed it because they lived in Malta, or still do live in Malta. So it came out when I was still playing in a live casino in Malta. So playing Hold'em must have been like 8 years, 9 years ago. It was in development, I think, and then they launched it. I don't know. So something like that, like 9 years, sounds about right, or
Oh, I would have guessed like 6 years or so, or
okay.
5 years.
Well, yeah, well, for sure, then probably more six than five, I would assume. But because yeah, I met those guys when they were developing it, not when, and I don't even know if they launched it. I mean, back in the day, and we discussed it earlier. I had a very different approach to studying the game. I had very different understanding of what does it mean to study the game. Because when we were talking about me playing these high stakes 2-7 triple draw and crushing, and then the Black Friday killing the games was the best thing for me because I'm sure that I would have ended up losing. Because that's the kind of work I was doing before. It's like, yeah, play, think, exploitative, whatever. Just no idea about what it takes to actually improve your game systematically. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, having a system is in place is important.
yeah, for sure.
I always like to go from the most important and most common spots, and then I dig deeper into,
Yeah,
not as important ones.
right. That's exactly like because you mentioned before, some people would, you know, spend like half an hour analyzing a hand in like some obscure check raise spot on the turn or something, you know. Like you have to start with something more common, more important. Anyway, where were we? Ooh, Roar saying don't promote run it once and bluff the spot. Sorry. Nah, I think, you guys, you can, and you should, like, if you want to improve, just use everything at your disposal. Just go for it. But to me, videos are never gonna be a substitute for coaching, not even close. But it's a start. You have to start somewhere, and why not? And to me, like when I was starting out, I was watching the Galfond videos, and I still think it was very good. Very good. I learned so much about how to think about the game. Like I don't remember if I learned any strategy, maybe, but whatever I learned back then, it's so outdated now, so it doesn't even matter. But his approach to how to think still, like, in some way is here somewhere.
I mean, if you're starting out, there's no need to hire a $500 an hour coach.
Oh
Then you can
yeah,
just watch
yeah,
videos.
for sure, for sure. And
Uh,
I mean, for that,
uh,
I really like the concept of what we're doing in Bluff the Spot. The coaching for profit system. It enables people to basically get amazing coaches for free. Let's face it, for free, because we're only getting paid if our students win, right? So, in the end, the actual dollar amount shouldn't matter to the student because, if you end up just gaining a great win rate from the coaching that you get, that otherwise, how else would you have gotten it? It's a great thing, and exactly right. Like, who can afford a 500 an hour coach? And who of the, those best coaches is even interested in working with the low stakes beginner student?
yeah.
Mm.
I think what I wanted to say is that there's a time and place for videos, because I don't think that videos are useless. If you just want to learn the basics, then it's sometimes good to just watch the videos. But
Oh yeah,
then at some point, you also have to work with coaches or solvers
right, right.
or, yeah, everything you can get your hands on.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I totally agree that, there's a time and a place for each method. But what was I saying earlier about, the coaching for profit thing is it allows people to start out with the coach. Basically, you don't need to wait till you're crushing mid stakes until you reach out to the, the high stakes guys and say, well, coach me now, I'm ready to pay. It basically enables people to get the coaching much sooner when actually the return on the time you spend with the coach is the highest. Because imagine if you, like, because to me it's always harder to work with people when you need to change the idea of how they view the game, because when they already like played for like 8 years and then they have their own ideas and they're wrong and then you have to change it, it's much
Yeah.
harder than if somebody is just open to, like, okay, I don't really know, so show me, right?
Yeah, I think it's called the beginner's mindset.
Right,
That's
yeah.
important in every area where you have to learn, I think.
Hmm.
Also, I think that's a mistake many players make, that they focus too much on winning money at the moment and not increasing their hourly. So
Yeah.
let's say I see a lot of players playing No Limit 5 or PLO 5, and they spend so many hours playing with the hourly of, I don't know, $2.50, instead of focusing on getting better and then climbing up the stakes.
Yeah, totally. Totally. And I mean, it's usually because it's not even clear how to improve. right? At least
Yeah.
it was for me. Like for a long time, because for a long time I was just kind of stuck in the mid stakes without even viewing it as I'm stuck in the mid stakes. I was just like, yeah, I'm a mid stakes player, for several years. I'm just like, I'm happy with this. Until you realize, like, you know what? Fuck this. Let's go to work. Let's go to lab, as it's popular to say. But it takes a conscious decision of like, okay, it's enough of this. Let's do it. Let's break out. Let's do the work.
Yeah, I think also it's a it's a fallacy, because you want to win money right now. And you don't want to wait for more money. You don't want to study to win more later on. It's always like, I think it's just impatience a lot of the times.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. In poker, you see a lot, like, you know, people not willing to invest in their education, kind of, which is ridiculous because if you think about it, like, if you're a doctor, if you're a lawyer, of course you're gonna go to like the best school. If you want to be the best, you're gonna go to the best school. You're gonna take a student loan to get there. Um, yeah, it's not something that happens in poker. Because a lot of people would even say like, "Oh, solver is how much is it?" Well, it's too much for me. Really, it's probably gonna be not taking it is the most expensive decision of your life, right? If you are serious about playing poker.
I
Anyway, are we ever gonna get through the chat? We must, because we basically have to wrap up in like about 7 minutes, because Arthur
Oh,
is
thanks,
coming
guys.
on. I mean, I suppose it's fine if we dig into his time a bit, but it's not. It's a dick move. We're not those kind of people. So we're gonna let's go through all the chat real quick. Um,
Okay.
so um, so Trisector is saying maybe similar to Sauce on Rio right now. His thinking process is super cool, and he makes many outside the box plays. Yeah, Sauce has always been also very inspiring for me. Any videos of his, just like just hearing this guy walk through his thinking process, amazing. Rufus is asking, will Tobi do any
Um,
coaching for Bluff the Spot? I love that question because Tobi might. Tobi might. To-
oh,
Tobi
we
will?
don't know yet,
We don't know yet, but I think we're working towards
Oh,
it because
probably.
it might happen. If you guys keep asking the question every week, well, it might happen sooner. No, but I think we would for sure. I mean, Tobi, I hope is gonna keep coming back as a guest to my this little Twitch show, whatever we have here, our amateurish looking, you know, podcast imitation that we're just having fun and enjoying all the questions and just riffing or whatever
Yeah,
the
so last time was the first time for me, and
yeah,
always when you start, you think you just don't know if you like it or not.
yeah.
So
But you're back
yeah,
for more, so it's cool.
I'm, oh yeah,
Yeah,
and this episode was even more fun than the last time, I
yeah.
think.
Oh, I enjoyed it so much as well, because I started out very often would just play online, while on stream or review somebody's footage. Reviewing somebody's footage is actually more interesting than just playing, but interacting with the audience and just going on different random rants. What's there not to like? I mean, that's great. I love it. Anyway, so thanks for the inside, boys. You guys are actually answering questions in depth. Appreciate it. That was from Evan G. Evan
Oh,
G1. So Evan G1, we thank you for the kind words. We're happy. Well, I'm happy that you like it. Um,
I appreciate it.
yeah. Or Arknek has a great question here that. If we have 6 minutes to answer, so let's check the other questions first. So, Jesus, the Trisectors also has a great question. Okay, Arkneka, you have the seniority from just you posted earlier. So, and what is Tobi playing? What is Tobi playing? Real quick, 2 minutes. So Tobi's playing.
It's So these days I play a lot of PLO, mainly 400 to 2K. Um, yeah, also some live tournaments when there are good ones, for example in Vegas. I don't like the short trips anymore. I don't want to go to Macau for 10 days anymore. Some live stops make sense when there's Vegas, for example, where you can stay 6 weeks and then play. So yeah, I would say live hold'em tournaments and online PLO mainly.
Yeah, yeah, that answers it. I mean, cool. So we have now 5 minutes for Arkneka and Trisectors. Let's go. So Arknek is asking if Tobi said nobody's playing GTO, how close to GTO is it possible to get? Great question.
Phew.
Let's because like as great of a question this is, I also want to ask you a question from myself, Tobi, because we have 4 minutes, so we have plenty of time. But the thing is, how close is it important to get the GTO? How close is it necessary? How close is it even, like, why would we want to be exactly GTO?
Well, I think that's hard to answer because it's a moving target. Because the whole landscape is evolving and every player is getting better and better. So it gets closer and closer to GTO, but it's still so far away.
Exactly, and that's
It's,
what I was actually getting at, that it's a moving target right now because I mean the moving target is how close do we want to be to GTO? Because again, like you probably if you had unlimited time and a pretty fucked up brain in some way that you can just, see numbers or feel numbers under your skin or whatever such thing. I don't know. You can, of course, you can just play completely GTO, but in a modern landscape, it's just not worth it to try to get to that level because if you're gonna end up studying 120 hours a week and playing 1 hour a week just to get closer to the GTO, I mean, like, what the hell are you doing?
yeah, I
But
think
since
that the
everybody keeps
emphasis,
studying and studying, of course, we're getting closer, as you said, we're getting closer to it.
yeah, I think you always want to be better than your opponents. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
And that means you always have to figure out who's better, what is he doing better than me, what am I doing better, and I think that's a hugely important skill.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And Robbie Expert here is saying in the chat the same thing of basically closer than others is how close you want to get to GTO, which is very true. Hence, that's the moving target. Anyway, so Trisector's question was, what do you do as a prep for your coaching sessions? Any recommendations? Actually, I'm not sure from which perspective is he asking it. Like, as in, what would be my recommendations for a coach or for a student? I'm not sure what he's
I
asking.
think as a student, it's important to figure out what you want to talk about and not just come up with like four hands, but something more systematic, and then you can write down questions.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And now Trisector's actually confirmed it from a student's perspective. And I completely agree with you, Toby, that, just basically writing down the questions broader than just saying, oh, I had this interesting hand. Can we talk about it? That's not
Yeah,
prep.
I think it's better if you ask a question like, or if you have a goal, like say, I want to learn how to excel in three-bet pots.
Mm,
Um, you know, blind versus blind or whatever.
yeah.
It's always better just saying, okay, I have five hands here. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. Especially like if you're just asking about the hand, you're missing the point because you're actually the real question is broader than that. It's more than just this hand. It's like the concept that you're missing But also, like, because the way we structure our coaching in Bluff the Spot is that, especially in the beginning, when the players just set out with us, we give a lot of guidance into which areas to pay attention to, which areas to try to improve, which areas to focus on. So I always encourage my students to actually, after the session, after we do a session, like spend a week completely focused on what we were talking about and write down all the situations where you kind of realize that you didn't understand something fully, or still are not sure if what the knowledge that you gain is helping you in the situation that it's supposed to be helping you, right? So it's a sort of homework that a lot of most of my students do, and that's a type of prep as well. Just basically, a focused note taking about what you understand and what you don't understand and why you think that is.
Oh, I think we are running out of time.
Yeah, we run out of time, and Robbie is asking, shouldn't the coach review the hands and pick concepts that the student's not doing great at? I mean, it's one thing of it, yeah, sure, but the coach is also going to review the database, is going to, review footage, because, I like to see my students play and analyze their game more so than just the hand reviews that they picked. So there's more to it. Like as a coach, we do have to do a lot of things actually to pinpoint the areas where the student needs to improve. Anyway, guys, I thank you all so much. About coaching, you can, as always, all the information, links, everything is down there somewhere on Twitch. Reach out to us. Our support guys are super responsive. Usually you get a response super quick. Arkneka saying thank you to both of us for the stream. We appreciate it. It's been
Thank
really
you.
cool. Tobi, do you want to say anything? Add anything?
Um, Thank you so much for the support and see you next time.
Yeah, yeah. And by the way, the next time is Wednesday next week. Every Wednesday, the same time. I'm doing the stream. I don't know if Toby is gonna be there. I mean, he's in Buenos Aires right now. The life expectancy is really low there, so all things, if luck is with him, he's gonna be here next week, maybe. I don't know. We didn't actually discuss it, but
I'm durable.
alright. So anyway, I'm gonna be here next week for sure, and I hope that Toby is gonna be here. If not next week, any other week. All right. So
Yeah, next
guys,
week.
thanks again, and bye bye, and good luck. See ya.
Bye.
If you enjoyed the video, remember to hit like and subscribe, and also leave some comments for me in the section below about what you think about the topics that we've discussed today. You might also be interested to check out some of the videos where I play PLO, Zoom, live on PokerStars. And also, if you haven't already, check out the video where I analyze one of the high stakes hands that I've recently played on PokerStars. That one is packed with useful information for you. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.